welcome to the Aggressive Progressive. It's been forever since we did an Aggressive Progressive. We need to have that music louder at the beginning. You need to crank it up in here. I gotta feel it. There it is. All right, thank you, Bart. All right, we have a jam-packed, power-packed show for you today. So you know how this works. The first 15 minutes, we go out live free. After 15 minutes, we make a jump to the members only section. So if you want to become a member, go to tytnetwork.com/join. You see the whole show, you get all the stuff, and then we put clips of this show up on the main channel on the weekend. Okay, so here we go. Let's get it. I got some great guests this week with me. Right here is, of course, the miserable liberal, Steph Zamorano. Hello, Steph, how are you?
I'm miserable.
And one of my favorite progressive writers is here. He wrote a great book called Chain of Title, which is an award-winning book, won awards, and it's all about how the government screwed us over in the mortgage scam. It's Dave Dayen is here, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Dayen, how are you, buddy?
Thank you for having me on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for making time to come down to the studio. It's a big thrill to have you here. And we're going to talk about your most recent article that you wrote for The Intercept, and it has all to do with the single-payer debate that's happening in California right now. Now, California is the 6th largest economy in the world, and we still don't have single payer. And our Democratic legislature is telling us can't do it. So we're going to talk about that. But first, before we get into it, I want to show you what I think is the big problem with getting single payer. And we had Shama Sawant on this show, and she told us that if you're a progressive, that the road for your movement will meet a graveyard inside the Democratic Party. Now, when she said that, I thought she was being a little extreme, using big rhetoric. Turns out she's right, because when she got the $15 minimum wage passed in Seattle, she had to fight the Democratic mayor to get it. And now we're trying to get a single payer in California. We're gonna have to fight the Democrats to get it. Dick Gephardt used to be the majority leader for the Democrats. He was a Democratic congressman from Missouri for almost 30 years, up until 2005, from 1977. And he was the majority leader, he was the minority leader, he was the Democratic caucus leader. So he's a leader in the Democratic Party, even ran for president. And so he, in 2005, he quit the Congress, and that same year he started his own lobbying firm and started working for other lobbying firms. And during the Affordable Care Act debate, he worked for a lobbying firm that killed the public option. That's our Democratic leader. What do you call a guy who works for a lobbyist firm that kills the public option and he's a Democrat? You call that guy a super delegate. That's who he is. So here he works for this health insurance company called Centene. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But they were having their big get together at a big fancy hotel in New York City, and he was asked a question. This is Dick Gephardt. If you go to my computer, you see that's him, Dick Gephardt. See what he looks like? The guy's got no eyebrows. Remember, that's the big thing everyone used to say about him, that he had no eyebrows. But now he's really, really rich, and he's really, really powerful. And here he was at an investors meeting, and he was caught on a microphone talking about single payer. And listen to the question, by the way. So this is a health insurance guy asking Dick Gephardt, who's now lobbying for health insurance companies, former majority leader in the Congress for the Democrats. Listen to the question he asks him. Oh, why is it not working? On a microphone talking. So, okay, what's happening? Is it not working?
You have the stream playing. The stream is playing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, this is my bad.
We'll edit it out.
Okay, we're gonna kill all this. Okay, now we got it. This is live TV. That's the scene.
Makes it exciting. Thank you, Jimmy.
Okay, now we'll see if it works.
Second question, one of the sort of existential threats that I always think about in this business is just a single payer system. And I know we've never gotten close on the Senate floor, but I guess in anyone's mind, I'm curious.
Can you come to me for a second? I just wanted to, did you hear how he started that question? He's a guy in the health insurance industry, and he said it's always been an existential threat. What was an existential threat? Let's listen.
One of the sort of existential threats that I always think about in this business is just a single payer system. And I know we've never gotten close on the Senate floor, but I guess in anyone's mind, I'm curious to get anyone's perspective. Is there a scenario where this just isn't working. Maybe there's another bill in it, the HCA, and that doesn't work as well either. Is there a scenario where we're ever really contemplating a single-payer system in the U.S.?
Not in my lifetime. I'm pretty old, so but there is no way you could pass single-payer in any intermediate future. And I've given you my editorial comment. This is the greatest healthcare system in the world, bar none. If you got a real problem, you want to be in America. And if you look around the world where they have single payer, I think you will find, it covers more people, but they do not have the quality and they do not have the innovation that we get because of the involvement of the private sector in our healthcare system. And I think that will defeat single-payer approaches now and in the future.
Hear, hear. Put me down as agreeing with Leader Gephardt. As usual.
Haley and I are both in the middle on this one.
Well, that is Dick Gephardt agreeing with Haley Barbour on healthcare.
If I'm not mistaken, that was Haley Barbour.
Yeah,
it was the head of the Republican National Committee for a while.
Yes.
So they found something to agree on.
On screwing people out of healthcare.
Right.
Yeah, for money, right? Which is what they're doing. So he's
They're both big time lobbyists. Yeah.
So, and Dick Gephardt was super, as far as I can tell, was super progressive when he was in Congress, right? I don't know, super.
He was a labor Democrat.
He was a labor.
Big on labor.
Put it that way.
Yes, he definitely was a friend of the people. So when he takes this position, it's pretty shocking and uncomfortable, and that they can giggle about it is even more, I guess it just highlights how corrupt the whole system really is.
So I agree with you, Steph, on that. And so I think that kind of shows you the problem. Even a guy who was a labor Democrat when he was in power, as soon as he gets out, he starts lobbying, he takes all this money, and now he works against the public option, and now he's giggling with Haley Barbour, and he's using right-wing talking points because everything he said was not true. They have better outcomes in single-payer countries at lower costs. Better outcomes at lower costs. So what he said was not true, and he's saying that for money. That's because he's being bribed to say that. It's hard to get a guy to understand a problem when his paycheck depends on him not understanding it. So Dick Gephardt, he's enriching himself while he denies poor people health care. That's a guy with no integrity, as far as I'm concerned. All right, here's Anthony Rendon. Who is the assembly leader here in California. He was being asked about single payer after the Senate in California had proposed a bill for single payer. And here's what he said. Now, I didn't put this video together. Someone sent this to me, so I can't take credit for it. But here we go.
Is it time to do single payer in California?
I've been supportive of single payer since before I ever heard of Obamacare. Maybe before I ever heard of Barack Obama, I'm not sure.
Oh, there it is. There it is. You can go back. Since 2012, Speaker Anthony Rendon has taken at least $150,000 from pharma, health and health insurers. Okay, here we go. Go back. That's okay. Keep it running.
I've been supportive of single payer for quite some time. There's a lot in flux at the federal government level, to say the least. So the details need to be figured out, and
he's sincere by the way he's looking down at the ground, twiddling his thumbs. You can tell he's not bullshitting at all. This guy is bullshitting right now at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and he's got tells all over the place. So if you know anything about a guy lying, this guy cannot conceal the fact that he's bullshitting you right now. This is Anthony Rendon. Here let's go back.
The bill that's in the Senate, I think Laura is the author, is something that I need to look at. I'm philosophically in favor of single payer. This particular bill, I need to look at. And also the timing is, there's something, the timing may be a challenge.
Why is that?
Because there's so much in flux at the federal government level.
Don't count on them.
That's okay. I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so to me, I played that because to me, we all know, everybody in this room, everybody outside this room knows that that's the problem. The problem is that the Democrats are in bed with the pharmaceutical industry and the health insurance lobby, and they take money and they're paid to not understand the problem. Okay, so now brings us to this article. Go to my, this is from The Intercept, written by our guest here, Dave Dayen. It's entitled "California Single Payer Organizers Are Deceiving Their Supporters. It's Time to Stop." Now, before we get to it, what would you say about Anthony Rendon's little thing there?
Oh, I mean, Anthony Rendon is not really that interested in passing a single payer bill. I think it's pretty clear. And you know, beyond himself, his caucus is moderate to say the least. I mean, this is a caucus that on the same day that Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement, the Assembly in California, this big blue state, voted down extending the cap and trade system that we have in place right now.
So ostensibly, they're doing right-wing things.
Right. I mean, this is literally at the same time that everyone's like, "Oh, Trump is a horrible person for voting down the Paris Climate Agreement." That caucus, there are a lot of moderates and conservative Democrats in that caucus, and Anthony Rendon is the leader of that caucus, and he sees his role not necessarily as doing, you know, the bidding of what the public might want, but he's trying to protect the conservative elements of his caucus that don't want to vote on this.
Okay, and,
you know?
and the governor too, right? Because Governor Jerry Brown doesn't want to sign it.
There's no question that the governor will never sign, ever sign this.
Okay.
The one guy in the Senate, you know, this passed the Senate, but there was one guy named Steve Glazer who said, "Well, I'm not voting for this financing. There's no way that I would ever vote for raising taxes to pay for this." Steve Glazer was Jerry Brown's campaign manager. So Jerry Brown has already said, "Where's the money? How do you do this?" He's contradicting what he said in 1992, but
no kidding.
But so the larger point is this is a long climb. And how you understand where to go forward is based on whether you think this is a long climb or not. So that's kind of the preface for this thing that you can beat me up about.
Okay, so it's okay. We're going to disagree, I think, on this article. I know we do, but the reason why I have Dave on is because this article has been a little controversial since it's been printed. It was printed in The Intercept, and a lot of people said it was unfair to the nurses. I was one of those people. So that's why we have Dave here, and Dave's a good guy. And so we don't want to sandbag him, and we don't want to get overly emotional. We want to
do whatever you got to do.
We both want single payer. Dave's for single payer.
I've been for it for well over a decade. I mean, the first time we tried to pass single payer in California was 1992. There was a ballot measure to try to pass single payer in California way back then.
And how did that? It didn't pass, I'm guessing.
It did not pass. Do you go to the doctor now? Do you have a private insurer? In 2006 and 2008, single payer passed the legislature.
Oh, right.
And Arnold terminated it. So there's been a fight here for a long time. And I think that is the background for, I'm tired of losing on this, frankly. I'm tired of the strategies that come up that don't seem to move the ball forward. And here we are in a situation where we have Democrats control 2/3 of the legislature, which means they can do the taxes themselves. They can put it on the ballot themselves.
Supermajority.
Supermajority. There's a Democratic governor now instead of a Republican governor. There is public opinion has moved more in the direction that yes, the federal government or the state government has a role in healthcare, and we're in a moment where we need to get serious about this. And my view of what is happening right now is that it's not as serious as it needs to be.
Okay, so we're up against a break, our first break. And we're going to find out why Dave hates the nurses in just a second.
Yes, I hate people who heal people. That's literally my modus operandi.
So I'm just trying to be funny.
And I'm here, Jimmy, because I love nurses.
Because we all love nurses.
So nurses, pro or con?
Exactly.
The debate next.
So I was trying to tease them.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to come back in just a few minutes. We're going to take a couple-minute break. And when we come back, we're going to go through the article with Dave. And if you've read the article, maybe you're interested in this. And if you're interested in single payer, you should definitely be interested in what we're going to talk about coming forward, right? So that's coming up next. And then we're going to have someone to even rebut this article afterwards, right? So someone working with the nurses is going to come on, and you're going to know everything you need to know about single payer, especially what's happening in California right now. After the break, go to tytnetwork.com/join and you become a member, or if you're already a member, tytnetwork.com/ I don't know. Members? I don't know what the hell you do. What do you do?
Member watch entire show, tyt.com/members live.
Members live. There you go. All right, we'll be right back.